back for another Talk About It Tuesday, and I love the question I got today. It's a mindset question, and it's something that plagues a lot of people, so I'm going to jump right into it. Listen to this. Heru, you always say humans are naturally lazy. How did you go about developing more discipline? All right, so I am guilty of saying humans are naturally lazy, but I'm not going to use that term because it really doesn't give an accurate description as to why people behave the way that they do. So biologically, humans are designed for economy and efficiency. So when I say economy of effort, economy of expenditure of resources. So it's not so much that we're lazy, it was a survival mechanism for early human beings. So if humans have not really evolved much. So when I say early human beings, when we were hunter-gatherers, and we did not want to expend a lot of caloric effort, a lot of physical effort in order to get food. And so we would try to minimize our effort because of caloric deficiency, meaning not enough food would kill us. And we didn't want to expend more energy than we took in by trying to find food. And oftentimes when we found food, we just laid around and did nothing. And so we normally and naturally have this impulse to try to do as little as possible to get the most out of it as possible, and a natural impulse to want to do nothing. And so it's a carryover from our earlier times when food was not so abundant, when, our lifestyles were totally different. We have used our brains to help us by creating technology, right? So technology creates efficiency. Technology creates economy of effort on our part, right? And so we're able to physically do less and get more and more efficiently through technology. So it kind of fits into who we are as human beings. But the problem is when we want to do things for ourselves and we have certain goals, we hit this wall. We get to this point and we'll have great enthusiasm, great passion. We'll write out a great plan and we'll get going and we just get this feeling of, I don't want to do it. And we all get it. I get it too. And so we have to find a way. Discipline, that idea of discipline is, how do you push through that? How do you push through the natural impulse to conserve effort, conserve energy, and to lay around and do nothing because that feels good, right? So how did I develop my personal discipline? I wasn't born disciplined. I don't think anybody, I know no one is born, disciplined. Do we all have different degrees of how far our boundary is, where we'll stop, our limit? Absolutely, right? Like anything else. Some of us have more physical strength than others naturally. But just like developing physical strength, you can push that boundary out. You can strengthen yourself. You can push that limit further. For me, a lot of people say, well, I've known you since you were a kid and you were always disciplined. No, I started playing competitive sports at an early age. And that's how I began to develop my discipline. And I'm going to show you how that can translate to what you can do. The first time I played competitive football on a team, I did not know human beings, especially kids, could train that hard. If I didn't have a coach that was pushing me as hard as my coaches were pushing me, I would never have developed the ability to push that far physically and mentally. If I didn't have teammates, and I was on a championship team my first year, so I lucked out because I've been on championship teams and I've been on losing teams, and there's a major difference. All of my teammates support each other and pushed each other to be better. So if I didn't have a coach that had high standards and was driving me to do more and told me I could do more and pushed me to do more, if I didn't have teammates who shared that value and were doing the same thing, then my limit would have been shorter, because had I just trained on my own, I never would have pushed that far. And I played football for 7 years, all the way through college. But I didn't know how far the body could be pushed until I ran track, because I thought football was about the limit you could push yourself, until I ran track, and track athletes push themselves even further. I didn't realize how much further you can push. And so from an early age, I was able to, develop the ability to, when my body wants to quit, push further. And what reinforced that was the outcome, right? When the coach said, hey, and I'll give you an example. When I first started playing football, coach came and I was there early. And he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm waiting for practice. And he screamed at me. He said, if you're here early, start running laps. And so he even pushed, not only do you push when people are around, when no one's around, you put in extra work, right? You run around that track. And then the payoff was I became a starter. The payoff was we won championships. And when you realize that by pushing through, you reach your goals, you get better outcomes, you'll keep pushing that boundary. And it's not like you don't snap back sometimes. It happens. But when you feel least like doing it, that's when you push through. So I've carried that throughout my life, that whole athlete mentality, that ability to what people call discipline, to push past that limit that your body sets that says, hey, you're working too hard. We need to conserve energy. We need to conserve effort for our survival, because our survival doesn't depend on it anymore. So here's what you can do. I could never have done it on my own. You can get a coach. And a coach doesn't have to be a life coach or someone that, it can be anyone who will push you when you want to quit. Surround yourself with people who have like minds and like discipline, right? So I had great teammates, always had great teammates who were high achievers and would push each other. We push each other, support each other, especially when you can see in someone else they wanted to quit, or when they can see in me I wanted to quit, they will push. So surround yourself with people like that. Another great story, when I first started playing football, season was over. I was sitting around and my father was, what are you doing? I had one of those stories again. And I was like, season's over, I'm relaxing, so off season. He said, I've never seen a running back who doesn't run. Get out on the track and start running, right? And so even after you've met your goal, you don't quit. You keep pushing the boundaries and pushing the limits. So support a family, surround yourself with people who are driven to do things. Get a coach. You can use technology, right? We all have a smartphone, so put alarms in there. Instead of trying to rely on yourself to say, I'm going to read this book today. When the alarm rings, you do it. So use technology as best you can. There are a lot of technological advances that will allow you to keep motivating. Everybody's got a digital calendar, all these things that will help keep you focused and on point. Get a coach. Get good teammates, meaning people that you surround yourself with, support a family, and you got to have that internal drive, because you got to know the outcome is worth it, right? And so when you start seeing small successes, let that be the motivation too, to do work on your own when no one else is around. So hopefully that helped out. Hopefully it answered your question. Give me some comments. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think about it. Keep the questions coming, and I'll see you next Tuesday.